The federal government is getting back to work after Congress agreed on a funding bill.
And that has the federal agencies resuming operations. We welcome in, once again, CBS News Justice Correspondent Scott MacFarlane. All right, Scott, so we know that the federal government shutdown is all over. Federal agencies, they're trying to get back to normal operations. When is that expected to actually happen and everything kind of go back to normal?
It's a gradual reopening. The federal government is like a big tanker ship. You can't just turn it around in half a moment. The National Park Service facilities reopened quickly, even the Teddy Roosevelt home downtown. You got the Social Security offices functioning fully in the city. And the VA hospitals were never closed, so they continue to function. But getting federal workers back to the office and re-implementing some of what the government does is a process. And I think that was one of the concerns at the last minute of this government shutdown. It's going to take a while to get that air travel back to where it needs to be. And you're getting really close to Thanksgiving, and the airports are ratcheting back up, still with an air traffic controller shortage and perhaps a more acute shortage after people stepped away during the shutdown.
Scott, there are a big story you're following this week. There are new questions about the president's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. What can you tell us about the new batch of emails released this week?
It's been 72 hours and the president has not yet answered questions about the Jeffrey Epstein controversy, which went from simmer to boil in the middle of this week when that batch of emails was released by a congressional committee that got them under a subpoena from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. In those emails, Jeffrey Epstein wrote years ago that he and Trump spent a lot of time together. They were close, and that Trump knew about the girls. The convicted sex offender died by suicide in 2019, but those emails are causing a real political problem in 2025. But I'll note the president today posted on social media his accusation that this is a hoax by the Democrats that Republicans shouldn't fall for.
There have been long been calls for all of the files to be released when it pertains to Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think we're getting closer to that?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a vote as early as Tuesday in the U.S. House, a bipartisan coalition that has formed to pass a bill that would require the release of those files. The Senate has to do so, too, not out of the question, but the president would have to sign that bill into law. Whether he goes along with it is an open-ended question, and I mean open-ended question because he's not taken questions over the last few days about his intentions there.
And what do we know about this recent report here that the Attorney General is assigning a prosecutor to look into Democrats' ties with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, the president, among his other social media posts today, told his Department of Justice they should investigate if Epstein had connections to Democrats. He even name-checked Bill Clinton, who has long denied knowing about Epstein's crimes. The Attorney General has assigned the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, the one that's in Manhattan, to lead that investigation. But there's an important note here. In July, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, issued a memo saying they found no evidence of any third parties engaging in any criminal conduct in conjunction with Epstein. But the investigation will launch nonetheless.
Scott, you've been following a number of other legal cases for us. Where do things stand right now for Letitia James?
There's going to be a decision by Thanksgiving from a judge here in Virginia as to whether to dismiss her case. James has argued the prosecutor was unlawfully appointed. We'll get a decision on that. Could be in a matter of days.
All right, a lot to track, of course. Once again, our Scott MacFarlane with CBS News. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.